Hello, my dear subscribers. So today we'll be making these trellis earrings. I decided to call them a trellis because they kind of remind me of the various garden trellises along which plants grow, which actually gave me an idea that this could be actually further embellished with some interesting beadwork, all around. So that's a possibility because these are so light. These are super lightweight, and yet they're quite big. Let me quickly show you how big they are. So like from the loop, they're almost 2 inches long, and I do believe they're like 1.25 inch in width. So there we are. Let's make some more of these today. So for these we're gonna need some of these metal tubes. They're called liquid silver tubes that I got from the Potomac Beads Company. No, they don't sponsor me, but I do shop with them for various shaped beads and some other unusual materials. So these are Athenacast liquid silver 10mm tubes. I suppose you could try out making this design with 9mm bugles. Let me know how that goes. I do not have any 9mm bugles to even try that out with, so we'll need some of these. And then I have some 11-0s, and today I'm going to use this really cool lime color. Let me quickly look it up. I'll show you. It's right here. It's Miyuki 11-0-4471. That's the color. I don't often keep the color numbers, but today you're in luck. And I've got them. And then I'll show you in the original earrings that I made. In here you'll see I have two 3mm bicones. Today I want to try making the same earrings with 2mm FirePolish beads because I have this really cool sort of metallic lime. The 2mm FirePolish, these are not true 2, so they are not 2mm. They're probably 2.5mm big. Let me see if I can show you on here how big they measure. So yeah, see, they are almost 3mm, even though they are called 3mm FirePolish. Anyway, I want to try making the earrings with them today. So without further ado, let's start on these earrings. At first, we are going to make the inner perimeter, so this part all around. Then we'll do the outer perimeter and the loop for the ear wire. And later we'll fill in the trellis sort of inside. Anyway, let's proceed. So let's start by picking up one of our silver tubes and one 11-0, and we'll do that 8 times. Okay. Oh, by the way, I'm working once again with Hercules thread fishing line, or braided fishing line. This one's 10 pounds and it's in white, and what's the thickness? It's 0.12mm thickness. And yeah, well, I enjoy working with, and especially since these tubes, the edges are, well, they're not super sharp, but they could cut through thread. So use a strong one. I'm sure Fireline is going to work fantastic here. 4-6 pounds. I'm not sure if 8 pounds, because around these areas on the inner perimeter, around the 11-0s, we go through them quite a few times. So you do need something that's still relatively thin. I personally would go for 4-pound Fireline, but just try it out. You can play with it. So, right, let's pick up what we need here. So we pick up a tube and oh yeah, the thread length. Today I took 60 inches, kind of like my arm span. I don't think I'll need that much, but I don't like adding thread halfway through the project, and instead I use one long thread with two ends, with needles on each end, and then it it keeps the thread durability, and also you work with much shorter length of thread at a time. So okay, let's keep going. So let's pick up third and third 11-0, fourth tube, fourth 11-0, fifth tube, fifth 11-0. Okay, let's keep going. You see how it's happening? And I'm just sliding all the beads right to the middle of my thread. You can still follow this tutorial if you work with just one needle, just kind of work from where I work from. So, because I only work with one needle at a time, I don't work with both needles simultaneously. Right. Next one. One more. Okay. Let's see when we get to 8. Right, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I'm still working with the screen between me and the beadwork. So, well, I think I get the best quality this way. Right, so I slid my beads right to the middle of my thread. Then with with one of the needles, I'm gonna go through the, oh my, what am I doing? I'm just gonna keep going through the next tube, and then I'm gonna come out of, okay, let me put this in the middle of the screen, right, and I'm gonna come out of, let me come, right, I think I have quite some wax stuck from earlier, because I pulled this, had to get these beads from an earlier beadwork I started and never finished. Okay, so okay, now we closed our loop. Anyway, so that's easy enough. Almost didn't need an explanation actually to create a bead loop like that. So now we're gonna go through this, through each of the 11-0s, and we're going to pick up 3 beads, 3 11-0s, and go through back the same way through this bead, and then the next tube and the next bead, and we're just going to go around and do this for each 11-0 that we picked up. Let's try and keep them together. Okay, it doesn't matter if they get sort of like twisted. Some of them get twisted inward into the sort of inside of the loop or outside of the loop. It's not that important at this stage. You can always flip them around. So pick up 3 11-ohs and we go back through this 11-oh that we're coming out of. Okay. So now we have these, they're kind of right angle weave elements, I suppose, because it's four beads in a little, I don't know, in a circle. So, oh, sorry, my thread got caught once again. I don't know what's going on here, why it's pulling so much. Okay. Anyway, try to keep the tension sort of medium tension on this. I think I made a mess here somehow. My thread got caught around a bead. Okay, there, that's better. Okay. Anyway, you can, once again, with me, those who subscribe to my channel, they know that I don't edit my videos, so just feel free to skip ahead to the next step further along and see what comes next. And I'm just going to keep going at my pace here. So, right, pick up 3 11-ohs and go through the same bead and the next tube and the next 11-oh. Tighten up a bit. Okay. I'm just checking with the original earring. It's been a while since I made this, so and I never wrote any instructions down, so I have to just work from memory and looking at the original earring. Okay, 3 more 11-ohs and back through. With these colors, these might turn out to be even nicer. Well, I might prefer them more than the blue ones. It's very possible. So, and now look at this. We're coming up to our last 11-oh. Now, what we do here is careful not to sort of cross over your threads if you're doing like me. If you're working with single thread, you're fine, but just be mindful that your second thread doesn't get tangled up if you're working with 2 ends like me. And I really don't remember how much thread this project requires, so that's why I took a full arm span. Right, so here we are. We pick up our last little, loop of 4 beads. So here we have them all around. Don't worry if they're a bit skewed, they'll straighten out sort of later, they'll all be sitting nicely. Now what we do is we're gonna go up into the, I'll explain in a second, let me get to it first. So we want to come out of this bead here, the one that's opposite the original loop of alternating beads. So here, what we can do right away is pick up the loop for our ear wire, which consists, in my case, I mean, you can make a loop as big as you want, but I'm using 8 11-ohs. So I'm adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 11-ohs. Here we go. And what we'll do is we'll go through back through 2, skip 1, 2, skip 1, and then 2 again. Okay, the one that we skip, we want it to be on the outside of this little loop, so just be mindful of that. And here we are. We go through the 2, and then we come out of the bottom one again. Okay, so we have this, and then we come out of the top bead of that little loop coming out there. Okay, don't worry if it gets twisted at this point, it's not that important. So here we are. I have my loop for the ear wire, kind of like I have here. See? So there. Now I go. I don't go, but let's just give you a more complete picture with this. So we have, well, I have another thread coming out. I don't touch it. I don't do anything with it at this point. What I do now is I'm gonna pick up 1 11-oh and one of the silver tubes, and I'm gonna go into this bead here. Okay, so it's not it's opposite the bead that's inside the inner loop. Okay, so all the beads that will be in the outer loop, they're opposite the beads that are in the inner loop, but don't forget to insert that one bead in there. Okay, let me do this. Oh, I'm thirsty today. I'm just gonna have a little water. Now then, and now I pick up 1 silver. Oh, come on, it doesn't want to come. There we are. And 1 11-oh. We pick up 1 silver tube and 1 11-oh, and we go through the next 11-oh in our path. So you see, we just went through this seed bead here. Okay, this one. Now, you guessed it, we're just doing the mirror image of that. Now we're gonna pick up 1 11-oh and 1 silver tube. And, yeah, right, silver. And I think I mentioned that they're Miyuki. Yes, I gave the number at the beginning. And then we go through this bead here. Okay. I think that's all pretty clear at this point. Okay. Oh no, I did make a mistake. Okay. Yes, I made a mistake, but it's not, yeah, because I was worried I'm not coming out of the right bead here. So just let me remove the silver beads and 11-ohs that I just added. Just the last 3. Just the last 3 additions that we made. Okay. We'll remove this because I knew I didn't come out of the right loop. I could feel it, but didn't catch on to it. Right, so what we do is, once we came out of the loop that we made for the ear wire, which is here, So we need to now go to this loop to this 11 on the side. So we need to come out of this actually. Yes, and then we pick up the beads that I told you to pick up. Okay. Okay, so see, this is the bead. At first I came out of this bead, but we should be coming out of this bead, which is right next to our 11 in the inner loop. So now we pick up 11 and a silver tube, and then we go through, and then we pick up silver tube and 11, and then we go through the next, here, then we pick up 11 and a silver tube, okay, now that's much better. Okay, so this is how it's looking at this point. And now we pick up silver tube and 11 and 11, and you guessed it, like just like at the top, we do not go into this bead. Okay, we go into the side bead, not the one that's opposite the bead in the inner loop, but the side bead there. Okay, and we can go straight into the 11 afterwards. Okay, so here we are. This is what we have at this point. Okay, now at this point we need to come out of this bead here. So we go through this 11, and you guessed it, we pick up 11 and a silver tube. If I can pick it up. The only reason I'm having difficulty picking these up is because there's a bit of wax collected from the previous beadwork that they came from, because I pulled them out of there. So, but I'm actually surprised how well the coating, the silver plating lasts on these. This little, and if you see, those are not scratches, that's a bit of beeswax again. That yeah, I mean, beeswax is awesome for preserving your thread and your beadwork, but it does sometimes end up on the faces of your crystals and your other nice shiny surfaces. Right, from here we take the silver tube and an 11, and we go into this bead here. Okay, hopefully it's still clear. Okay, so this is where we are. I'm coming out of this bead. Then I'm doing a mirror image now of the other side. So I pick up an 11 and a silver tube, and then I go through the 11 that's opposite the 11 in the inner circle. Okay, I think I'm doing it correctly. So, and then yeah, if I was better organized, I would have made one earring prior to this and rehearsed what it is that I actually did, but honestly I don't know when I'm gonna get around to filming again, so I just take every opportunity I can to film and release while I can. So here we are, and now look, here we go into the side bead of that loop. Okay, so we have this 1, 2, 3, 4 beads in that loop, and we need to go into this bead in the side there. Okay, now what I'm gonna do with this thread now is I'm going to go up and reinforce the loop for the ear wire. Okay, so we're gonna go through all these beads again. It's up to you if you want to do this. I feel like there's never enough reinforcing for ear wires. So here we are. We'll go through all of them, and then I'm gonna just go through it one more time, leaving out the corner beads, and then okay, now what I'll do is I'll go up once more, and then yeah, because these are Duracoat beads, so they have covering on them, so their holes are a little tighter than a lot of other beads. Anyway, I'm gonna start now working with the other thread that's coming out here. So now this is the other half, and right, I'm coming out of this tube in the back, and what I'm gonna do is I'm going to, if you're working with the same thread, just guide your needle to come out of the first bead that we picked up. Okay, so here. Okay, so since we're coming out here, we are going to go down the tube and into the 11-0 tube, into the 11-0. Now we're going to start filling in kind of the inner part of the trellis. Oh, there's some beeswax collected. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend everyone to always wax their thread. I even wax Fireline. I wax all of it. So yes. All right, so here we are. Let me kind of get it sort of out. So here's what it ends up looking as, and this is what it's looking as at the moment. So what we need to do is we need to pick up 1 11-0, 1 silver tube, and 1 more 11-0. And we are going to go from this 11-0 into this, okay? And we'll go from top down, okay? Well, that's my preference anyway. So, yep. Here we are. Sorry, my other thread is getting in the way. Okay, so this is what we have. And now we're going to go right back through it. So we're going through the same 11-0 silver tube and 11-0. Okay, tighten the tension, and then go from up. So what I refer to as up, that's where our ear wire loop is. So we'll go from up, down, I can get my needle in there. Should be able to get it in there. And then we come out of this 11-0 here, okay? I'm using, once again, size 12 needle, because, I mean, they're my go-to needles. So, okay, now coming out of here, this is gonna get interesting. So we pick up one 11-0, one silver tube, then we pick up one of our 2mm FirePolish. Remember, these are not true 2, they're just your regular 2mm FirePolish. I got these ones at Aura Crystals. Once again, I'm just telling you where to get them, but I'm not sponsored by any of these places. So then we have another silver tube, and you guessed it, another 11-0. Okay, then we get another 11-0. Okay, now we're gonna go up, well, from actually from up down, we're gonna go through this 11-0. That's opposite the one we were coming out of. Okay, so this is what we have at this time. And then we're gonna go through this 11-0, okay? Gonna go through this 11-0. Okay, and sorry, brush my camera a bit. And then we pick up one silver tube. But most of you have already figured out how to finish off these earrings by now. So, and then we go through this 11-0. Okay. Then we go through from up down again. Up being, you know, the wire loop, even though I'm kind of going from down up. I have only recently started preparing tutorials. I've been beading for so long, but I've never had to explain what I was doing until about 2 months ago, when I started actually preparing and writing tutorials and filming them. So here we are. For now, they're just sort of wobbly in the middle there, like that, okay? And now at the bottom we do the same thing as we did at the top. We pick up 11-0 silver tube 11-0, or, you know, if you're working with if you have 10mm bugles, then I see no reason why they wouldn't work. So you can try those. But I don't know if 10mm bugles even exist. I don't even have 9. I have 3 and 6 that on 12, 3, 6, and 12. I looked up. I don't often work with bugles actually. Maybe I should start. Anyway, so then we go from the top down again. If I can get my needle in there. Hopefully I haven't covered it up too much so you can still see things. Okay, so this is how they are looking at the moment, all wobbly. And then we go right back through the same 11-0 tube and 11-0. Okay, now we go from up down again. Okay, and we're gonna go all the way down and around the bottom of the earring. So we're gonna get our thread through here, through this 11-0. Oh, this is that's the problem with having the camera between me and the beadwork. but I have not yet figured out. If you look at my earlier videos, you'll see that the quality is really terrible. It's not that easy to figure out and to see what I was doing, but at least this way you can see where like the beginning of the steps and everything is obvious at least. So let's go up and go through this tube and the 11-0. And now what we'll do is we're going to go through this 11-0 again, just the 11-0, okay? I'm gonna come out of this 11-0 here. Oh, going from, okay, coming from here, and I'm gonna pick up three 11-0s at this point, okay? Pick up 3 11-0s and I go into the 2mm fire polish. If I can get into it. Okay, and hopefully with the 2mm fire polish, you know, the edges shouldn't be as sharp as with bicones. So once again, we pick up 3 11-0s, and we're gonna go through this 11-0 at the other end. Okay. So this is what we have at the moment. Okay. Now what we'll do is we're going to go through this 11-0 again. We're going through it a lot. From down up. Oh. Yes. Okay, we're going to go through it again from down up. And then we're going to go into this 11-0 before the bugle once again. And this step, I found it quite necessary because honestly it stabilizes the whole structure. I mean, the earring, it's quite flexible, so but it doesn't really collapse on itself or lose its shape. But for example, if it bashes into your neck, you know, it'll bend a bit like this, but it'll still hang afterwards. So even if it bends, you know, it straightens out afterwards easily. So right, so we pick up here one more 11-0 and go through the same 3 11-0s there. So we're just inserting this 11-0 in the middle there, and we pull quite tight there, okay? And into the fire polish, and then out of the other 3 11-0s. Then we pick up another 11-0 and we go into this 11-0, and then you guessed it, we go from down up into this 11-0 here, and all the way up, and well, let's go through step by step. Let's go through this tube first, okay? But this is what we have at the moment at the bottom of our earring. Then what we'll do is we're going to go all the way up through another tube and come out of this 11-0, okay? And now we do exactly the same thing at the top as we did at the bottom. So we go through this 11-0, right, there we are. Go through this 11-0, And then remember what we did? We pick up 3 11-0s. We go into the 2mm fire polish. We pick up 3 11-0s again. And all these passages, they're really good for also stabilizing the overall structure. So let's go through this 11-0 here. Okay. So here we are. This is what we have. And now we need to do turnaround using going from down up through this 11-0. Then we go back into the previous 11-0. And let's try to keep things, you know, nice and taut. So we pick up another 11-0 and we go through these 3 11-0s and the fire polish. Or the 3mm bicones, whatever you work with. So then we go through 3 more 11-0s and we pick up the last bead of this earring and we go into this 11-0 and we go again from down up and into the 11-0 and through the tube until we are coming out at the top. Now at this point I'm not gonna do the rest on the screen, but what I recommend, so our earring, it's basically ready now. It's ready now, except for it will help if you now use the thread we were just working with to reinforce and go around the inner loop once or twice. I would go at least once again, and then second time you can start like tying off knots and going through, tie off knots, going through, make at least 2 knots going around the inner perimeter. And then you take the original thread, and actually 60 inches was a pretty good guess for the length of the thread you need. And if you work on 2 needles, it's really great because you don't need to add any extra thread. And with with our other needle, let me see if I can, with the other needle we're coming out of that bit there, so we're gonna go down the loop and we're gonna go around the outer perimeter of the earring, and we just I would go at least once again, and second time you go around while tying knots and hiding them in between all these tubes and seed beads, and this is going to be a very, very secure earring. Then you put the ear wire through the loop and you'll have an earring like this one. So there we are. I'm not sure. Well, I think I personally prefer the lime green, but the blue one, well, it's classic. It goes with everything. But here we are. Anyway, have fun, experiment with colors. Like I said, I do recommend either 3mm bicone or 2mm fire polish. 2mm pearl would work there too, possible, or maybe 3. No, possibly 3. Let me quickly check that for you because I have some 3mm pearls right here, and I can see how kind of they are a bit bigger, so maybe 2mm pearls. I'm not sure. I might go for 2mm pearls if I do. Yes. So here you are, trellis earring, as I decided to call it. So enjoy and see you soon. Bye.